And at the time I was doing like lashes, I was doing lash training. I had a boutique as well, which I set up in lockdown. I was doing aesthetics, I was selling ebooks, like I was trying to do everything. And none of it was going well at all. And then I actually applied for the Apprentice, and then I got an interview, and it was like the day before the interview, and the trains got cancelled, and I was like prepping for my interview and stuff. And I just thought to myself, like, if I went on this show, I'd actually want to win it. And I do have full faith in myself that I could win it if I like knew what I was doing. But I was thinking, like, my life's a mess. I was like, I'm trying to do everything, nothing's going well. Like, what am I going to need the money for? Because I don't have an actual business plan. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sack everything off and just put my whole like heart and soul into the aesthetics, because that's what I love doing.
Hi guys, it's Holly here at Faces. Welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I'm here with the lovely Megan from Boss Babes Aesthetics. Megan, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. So,
That's okay.
do you want to just kick things off by giving us a bit of background into how you got into the industry, where Boss Babes came from, and where your journey started?
So I actually went to university to do fashion in London, and I was looking for a part-time job at the time just because like I was a bit of a party girl back then. So I wanted something that would allow me to have money because I wanted to like buy clothes and stuff. But I also wanted to have like the free time to be able to go out and like live the uni life and not be like tied down. So I was kind of just like looking for a job, and then I actually got my lashes done. And then I was getting my lashes done, and I literally just thought like I could do this. And I was like, I think I gave her like 50 quid at the time. And I was like, she's done my lashes for like an hour and a half and she's got £50. I was like, that's so good. Like I could do it. And I'm so impulsive. So I literally went home and booked a lash course. My mum was like, Megan, what are you doing? And I was just like, trust me, it's fine. So I did that. And then I actually went to Newcastle for a night out, and then I just never went back to London because I didn't like living there at all. So I moved to Newcastle after that night out. I literally just didn't go back to London.
Wait, what? How did you just not go home?
I just didn't. So like I went to Newcastle because like loads of people I knew was there for a night out, and I just loved it. And I just thought like when I was at uni, like all my flatmates were international, and there was like 10 people in there, so everyone was international apart from this one girl, but she had like a boyfriend and she was always going home to see him and everything. So I would literally spend all my time just like watching Waterloo Road in my bed, and I was like, this is just not the uni life I imagined. And all my friends were like putting on stories and stuff, like going out and like having their best life with the best friends that they've met in the flats, and I was just there like alone and like, wow, this is not the vibe. So yeah, I went to Newcastle, and then I just remember I texted my mum, I was like, don't want to go back to London. I was like, I want to move here. So I just like stayed an extra day in Newcastle and just went to look around like the accommodation, and I went to the university and was like, hi, like, would I be able to join? And they basically just said that I don't have the grades. So I ended up going to Newcastle College and doing an access to higher education course. But I was still doing my lashes on the side. So I lived in a student accommodation with other people in Newcastle. And then I did an access to higher education course to get into the university for the next year. And I started doing my lashes, and I ended up just getting so busy because I was literally like just constantly on the uni Facebook group like 3 times a day, just posting like, hi, I'm doing lashes, hi, like messaging everyone. And I ended up getting really busy. And at the time, I was probably earning like 400, £500 a week. And that was just from like not really trying. And I was like, well, obviously I tried, but it wasn't my intention. And I was literally like, wow, like, do I even need to go to uni? Because I've always wanted my own business. And then I was like, like, let's see what I can actually make of this. So like I got into uni for the next year. But I just deferred it because I was like, I'm just going to see. So I deferred my year at uni, and then I just started doing more courses. So I did like brows, like microneedling, dermaplaning, like literally everything, because I'm a bit of a course junkie as well, not gonna lie. Even now I'm like, if there's a course on, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. So yeah, I started doing that, and then I did a hyaluron pen course, you know, the no needle filler. So I did that to start off with, and then I did the training course, and it was absolutely just pathetic, not gonna lie. I did it, and all the filler was just on top of the lip, and I was like, this is just an absolute fraud treatment. And because I'd built up a really good reputation, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to offer that to my clients, because it doesn't work. So, and I thought at the time you could only do aesthetics if you were as a nurse, and I'd had lip filler and stuff done in the past, and I just thought it was quite interesting, because I did like doing lashes, but I just felt like, for me, I'm creative, but I like to learn, and I just think with lashes, you're not like, it's just so boring. Like, it's just a treatment that like you don't have to use your brain for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas with aesthetics, because it's actually like hard, it's like an art but with biology. And I actually did biology and art for A level, which is like the most random mix ever, but now it makes sense. But then I was just researching, and I just found online this place in Manchester to do the actual dermal filler course, and you didn't have to be a nurse. So I was like, right, okay, I'll do that. So I did that. And then, funny story, I always think this now, like, how on earth did people used to come to me? I used to do it. So in my uni house, in my bedroom, I literally had the beauty bed that I still have now at the side, like the end of my bed. And I was literally doing lip filler in my bedroom, in my uni house. Like, what the hell?
Oh my God. But at that time, because how many years ago was that? Like what, like 4 years ago?
Yeah, so it would have been, 3.5, 4, almost 4 years ago now, actually. Yeah.
But for students, like,
Yeah.
that's like ideal. Like, I'm just gonna go upstairs, get my lips done.
Yeah. I know I do like my flatmates and stuff. It's actually so funny when I think about it. Like, but that's the thing, like when you build up trust with people, like, because obviously I had loads of lash clients and I'd advertise to them. Like, it's crazy what, like, when someone trusts you, they'll literally, like, when you think about doing someone's lips in my bedroom in my uni house, which was like damp and it had rats in, that's just awful. But like, because my clients trusted me, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and
But
it's
yeah,
just convenient as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay, so obviously you deferred your uni course because you were kind of thinking, right, I'm going to see if this will work. So at what point did you then go, right, do you know what, sacking off uni, sacking off fashion, this is what I want to do, and I need to get out this uni.
So it was COVID. So I trained in January 2020, and then it was COVID in the March, I think. Was it March? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, March time.
So then I was at home for like 2 months, and I was like getting bored, and then went back to Newcastle, and then I ended up moving. I decided pretty early on. I think I decided like within my second year, like when I was living in the uni house. I think after a couple of months being there, I was just like, no, like I'm not gonna go to uni because it's just not for me. I'm more of a like independent person. Like, I don't need uni. I just want to do my own thing. And then I think like 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, I moved. So I moved to Manchester. So this was like 2 years ago now. I moved to Manchester. And at the time I was doing like lashes, I was doing lash training. I had a boutique as well, which I set up in lockdown. I was doing aesthetics, I was selling ebooks, like I was trying to do everything. And none of it was going well at all. And then I actually applied for the Apprentice, like, and then I got an interview, and it was like the day before the interview, and the trains got cancelled, and I was like prepping for my interview and stuff. And I just thought to myself, like, if I went on this show, I'd actually want to win it. And I do have full faith in myself that I could win it if I like knew what I was doing. But I was thinking, like, my life's a mess. I was like, I'm trying to do everything, nothing's going well. Like, what am I going to need the money for, because I don't have an actual business plan? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to sack everything off and just put my whole like heart and soul into the aesthetics, because that's what I love doing. So I was like, I'm going to put my whole heart and soul into that. And then I just decided, so it was like March last year, I was like, I'm just going to put everything into that. And then I did, and then it just kind of grew and grew.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Like, it's been like a rocky road, but I feel like without you being so impulsive, you have got to where you are now.
No,
do you feel like more settled now then? Like, now that, you know, obviously you're still going to be extremely business minded and motivated, but do you feel like happy in Manchester, like your clinic, you know, you feel like, okay, I'm on the right path now?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously I always believe that everything happens for a reason. So obviously at the time when it was a rough patch with a boyfriend, because he was like the first boyfriend who was actually really nice to me, because everyone else was horrible to me. I had really bad relationships in the past. So like we had a bit of a rocky patch, but if we never had a rocky patch, I would never have decided to move to Manchester. And then like I moved to Manchester, And obviously, if I never got the interview for the Apprentice, it would never have made me sit back and actually analyze what I was doing, because I was literally doing everything. I think because I'm very like business minded, and I've always been the type of person to Google like how to make money fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was younger and stuff, like how to make money quick.
Yeah.
Top ways to make quick money. Like that's
Yeah.
just always what I've been like. So I think obviously the whole Apprentice situation just made me actually analyze where I was at, and just made me realize like actually everything I'm doing isn't working, so I just need to focus on one thing, because I was spreading myself too thin. But it is really difficult, because even now, like I do find myself going down a different route, because I just get bored. Like I like doing what I'm doing, but because it's obviously a slow growth, and that's just how business and life is, I'm thinking like, no, I need something quicker to make me more money. So I'm like, right, what else can I do? And then I realized like, no, I'm going off path again. I just need to stay focused on what I'm doing. But yeah.
But that it's a good industry to be in if you're like that, because this industry is like ever changing. There's new treatments, new products coming out every single week by the looks of things. And so, you know, this time next year, you might be doing something aesthetics related, but like totally different. Like we just don't know obviously where it's going to go. What I want to ask you is, obviously when you were in Newcastle, that's when you built up your client base through lashes, then subsequently aesthetics. Moving to Manchester, how did you find like building a client base from scratch? Because obviously moving to a new location, it's like starting again, isn't it?
It was, not gonna lie, it was starting again, and it was really difficult. I remember even after being in Manchester, so I moved to Manchester in the August, and then I think I used to rent this place in the northern, was it in the northern quarter? Yeah. But it was down a back street, it wasn't very nice. And I started again there. And I think after like 4 or 5 months, I was applying for a job at like, I remember I applied for a job at Beauty Works to be like a social media person, because I was just like getting fed up, because I was like, oh my God, like it's so slow and it's so hard. And I just thought like I kind of gave up, because I'd moved and I was like, what have I done? But because I'd already done it once in Newcastle, I just kind of used the same strategies that I did, and I just kept going and I just kept at it. And then I just kind of literally contacted so many people and gave them loads of free treatments. And I just like it was slow at first. Like there'd be some weeks where I'd literally do like 1 lips, but I was doing lashes at the time. So I do like lashes 1 lip. I have like 1 lip a week.
Yeah.
And now it's been like what, a year and a half since I basically moved to Manchester, and I'm literally fully booked every single day. So it is crazy, but I just kept at it. Like I did lose faith a couple of times, but then I just kind of like snapped, like had a word with myself and just got myself back into being like, no, like you've got this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously it takes time. Yeah, and I went to a few like networking events as well about like growing your business and stuff. And I remember I went to one that P. Louise was speaking at, and she said about TikTok and that like you need to get on TikTok. And obviously it's different for a service-based business, because obviously like as a shop and like as e-commerce, you can just sell products from it. It's so easy. But as a service-based business, it's harder to promote yourself on TikTok. But I remember she said you need to post like 2-3 times a day. So I was like, right, I need to find someone to do this for me, because I can't do it myself. So I remember I found who actually still does it now. I was in Cape Verde for Christmas. Actually, before that had happened, so a girl came to me who lived in my building, and she'd put on a story a few times about getting her nose done. And when I used to see her around the building, I used to think it looks no different. Like I wish I could do it, but obviously I can't message her and be like, hey, I want to do your nose, because it's just rude. She came to me for something else, and then I ended up talking to her about nose, and I was like, come in tomorrow, I'll do it for you. So anyway, I did it for her, and it was so much better than what she'd had done before. And I remember I was sat on my sofa, and I just remember getting followers through Instagram, and I was like, that's weird. Like, oh, like when that's just random. And then she'd actually done a TikTok for me, and it went viral. Like it literally went viral. It got like over 1 million views. And I had so many people for months after that just booking with me for nose filler. So like that really, really helped in Manchester. So that was like 6 months after I'd kind of decided to give it my all. And it was like, because I'd just been reaching out to people and doing everything, I always think like the harder you work, the luckier you get. So like, because I'd been putting myself in front of all these different people and like just trying really hard, obviously that happened, and I was like, oh my God, buzzing. But it was so good, because it just like, since then I'd say I got busier. And then when I saw the power of TikTok, I then hired someone to do my TikTok for me, like every single day, like post 2-3 times a day, because I just thought if it takes one video to go viral to like change everything, then I need to keep that going and the momentum flowing. So now I've got someone who runs my TikTok for me as well.
Amazing. Yeah, because that's the thing with social media, it's like a full-time job, isn't it?
Oh God,
Like
yeah.
finding the time and also getting the content, coming up with the ideas. Like
Yeah.
that is someone's job. Like, and as an aesthetics practitioner, not only have you got to do the treatments and run your business, you've also got to do that. You've got to do your accounts, you've got to do everything else. And I think that can get very overwhelming for some people. But do you find that, because I know you do a lot of reels on Instagram as well, where you're just talking about treatments, you know, you're being really informative. Do you find that that works for you in terms of people buying into you as a person? Because I know that that does work for a lot of other practitioners, because
Yeah.
you do have to set yourself apart, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's just about building the trust with clients. Like I've had loads of clients come to me and be like, oh, like I really like that video you did on this. Like I thought I needed this, but now I want this. And like, I think obviously educating your audience within any industry that you're in, it's important because it does build that trust. And it does, like, obviously, especially with aesthetics, it is all about building trust because you're putting a needle in someone's face, so they've got to trust you. So I think if you're like educating them and giving them value, then they're more likely gonna like turn into a customer.
Yeah, 100%. With regards to new treatments then, so obviously you said that you're very much a training junkie and you like to be on the next thing. What is coming up for you in terms of new treatments or just generally for your business?
To be fair, I feel like I did loads and loads and loads of courses for the first couple of years, and I've still done a few courses this year, but this year I've tried to focus mainly on like the business side of stuff. So I've invested in like business like courses and stuff like that. But I'd say the planage, that's something that I do want to train in.
What
Which
is that? I've never heard of that before.
You've never heard of it?
What's it? Planage?
I think that's how you say it, yeah.
Tell me. I've literally never heard of that in my life.
So it's like a polynucleotide, and it's basically like a steroid version of like Lumieyes or something. So it's literally like 10 times stronger than Lumieyes, and it's really, really good for like tightening your skin, just like kind of boosting your skin really. Like it's not actually a skin booster because it's a polynucleotide, not like hyaluronic acid, but I'd say it's like similar in terms of what it can do. But yeah, it's supposed to be really, really good.
I feel like I need to Google that because I've literally never heard of that. So I'm super excited because normally I'm really on it with new treatments and things. But yeah, I think with where the industry's going, it's going very much more like the science, like doing treatments which are actually gonna like help like remodel your cells and like that kind of thing, isn't it? Rather than just like injecting some hyaluronic acid, which obviously can be very beneficial, but in terms of like the longer term effects, I think that's where the industry will be going. What are your thoughts on the craze with lemon bottle? Because that's just like gone mental.
It's crazy, isn't it? I do think it's really good, but I do think that people need to understand that it's not like a quick fix, and it is something that you need to have a course of as well. Like I was actually tempted to stop offering like single sessions because some people do get really good results of single sessions, but then I have also had people who've not really seen anything from a single session, but they do need a course. But because one session hasn't worked, they kind of don't come back. But it's like, well, you do need a course of them to see results.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do think it's a really good product for sure, and it's so much better than acrylic. Obviously, there's no downtime and it doesn't hurt. But yeah,
it's just I can guarantee if I open like Instagram now, I'll see like someone's a lemon bottle academy or like whatever. Like, it's gone really crazy, and it just shows how within this industry, as soon as someone starts like offering something which looks good or is getting good results, like everyone just like jumps straight onto it. So I'm interested to see like what happens next and what other products and treatments are going to be coming out. What are your thoughts on like the training side of things then? Because if I'm being honest with how impulsive you are, I'm surprised that you've not opened a training academy. Is that something you've thought about?
100%, especially the past 6 months, because I've done a couple of networking events with like other aesthetics practitioners, and like, but I just don't, for me, I don't want to do it for the wrong reasons, because everyone's always like, oh, there's so much money in training, but like, and I know the whole point of a business is to make money, but for me, I just think I want to be like absolutely, I'm a bit of a perfectionist as well. I want to be absolutely like perfect before I teach. And I think as well, I like, in my clinic at the minute, it's not really big enough. Like I could do masterclasses in there, but again, like I want to make sure I'm absolutely like perfect before I start offering that. And I want to build up a bit more influence so that I don't really have to like fully advertise it, rather than, do you know what I mean? So I'm not having to like do my outreach to find clients how I used to. Like I'd rather build up a bit of an influence first, so that when I do launch it, I've got like the customer base there already that will be like my hot clients who just want to buy with me straight away. Like I do get quite a lot of inquiries actually about if I do training and things like that. But I think I will do that, but just start off with masterclasses, and then I don't really know about the training side of it, because to be honest, my passion, like I do love doing the aesthetics treatments, but in terms of training, my passion lies within the business side of it. And I do think, I know I've seen quite a lot of people popping up now, especially in the past like 6 months, not even 6 months, like 3 months, who have started doing the business coaching. But I started kind of an aesthetics business coaching program in January, but I never really launched it because again, I was like, I'm going off track. I was like, to focus on growing my clinic still, I'm going off track. But I think in terms of teaching, I would prefer to do like business coaching for people, because I think there's so many training academies in the UK, so many. There's literally like one in every corner. And it's all good, these training, like they're getting students, but half of them don't know how to like set up a business. They don't know how to get clients. They don't know how to market themselves. And there's no point in spending thousands of pounds on your aesthetics skills if you can't actually do the business side of it. Like now, especially, the industry is too saturated. Like it's not like it was 7 years ago where you can post a pretty picture of lips on Instagram, you can get loads of clients come to you, or you can use an influencer and everyone comes to you. Like people who started years and years and years ago, they had it quite good because obviously no one did it. So if you were good at it, people came to you because you were good at it. Whereas now there's so many amazing practitioners, but because they've not got the business strategy and it's a very saturated industry, they're finding it really hard to get clients, where that wouldn't have been the case like 10 years ago.
100%. I think the business mentoring side of things is a really, really good idea. I've seen quite a lot of different practitioners starting to offer that as well. So I'm hoping it doesn't become one of them where like everyone, just like they've become an academy, now becomes a business mentor.
I know.
It's one of them.
I kind of do feel like it's heading that way, though, not gonna lie, just because I feel like at the minute I have seen a lot of people do it, and it's like, not saying that I know everything about business at all, because I really don't. Like obviously as you grow as a business you learn more. Like I can help someone kind of scale to 10k because I've been there, done that, and it's like it's easy for me. But like in terms of someone, like because I haven't employed staff and things like that, I couldn't really teach someone like fully. I can tell someone how to do it, but I've never done it myself. So I can't really advise that much in terms of like a bigger scale. But I do think that there is a lot of different business strategies out there, and obviously everyone has a different spin on it. Like I know some people's business coaching is based on just your mindset, which is fine, but mindset can only get you so far. Like you have to actually have like business actual strategy steps in place to kind of get clients. Like just having a positive mindset isn't going to always get you clients. Do you know what I mean?
You can't just like manifest clients, you know. You do have to put the work in.
I see so much about like manifesting, and it actually pisses me off, because I'm like, for me, like I do believe in manifesting, but not in terms of like I'm gonna like write a note and put it under my pillow and then like I'm gonna have a fully booked clinic. It's more about like you're focusing on it, and because it's your focus, that's why it happens, because you're focused on it. So like manifesting basically just realigns your focus in your brain. But that's what I think about the whole manifesting. But yeah, I hope that as well, that everyone doesn't pop up and be business coaching, because I don't want people to waste their money on things that aren't actually going to work.
Yeah, exactly. I think it should be something that practitioners only consider offering if they have built a very successful business. Whereas I kind of feel like there's going to be people out there who maybe, you know, haven't really been in the industry that long, who are then kind of like
people who they can't get fully booked, so they start training. And that's one reason why I haven't wanted to do it, because like a lot of people, they can't get clients, but then they start a training academy, they make more money from the training academy, but then it's just like, well, you don't actually have the experience to be a training academy. And then if they then started business coaching, I'm like, well, how could you start business coaching when you can't even build up a clientele yourself?
100%. But I do think it is really valuable having people within this industry who offer that kind of thing, because like you say, you do your training And then it's like, okay, how do I get clients? How do I do my accounts? How do I do social media? None of that stuff is offered, because training academies, it's about doing the practical and the theory and getting your certificate. That's it. Whereas I think a lot of people have really struggled with not getting that support afterwards, especially there's a lot of academies that will take the money and just like not speak to them ever again. So actually having like a business one-to-one mentor, or almost like someone who can just be your like person to go to if you have any questions, I think is really valuable. It's definitely needed. I think there is a gap for that, but I'm just hoping that it's not something everyone starts to offer, where it becomes a bit like, hold on, why is everyone now a business coach? Like you say, do you know
I think
build it?
I think as well, it's like, God, I can't remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say, I think as well, customer service is obviously like a huge part of your business. And like, I've heard some horrible stories from my clients about like they've been to places and then they've just been blocked, or like just something has happened. And like, I don't know, like there's just certain ways that I run my business that I should think that's how it should be run in terms of customer service. Like, I believe the customer's always right. And I know it's a big thing in the industry that's like, you shouldn't like admit to anything that you've done wrong, because obviously it holds you liable and like all that stuff. But I do think the customer's always right. And no matter what you like, sometimes as well, like if I'm in a bad mood and say I get something from a client, I feel like just replying and being like, oh man. And sometimes I've actually done it and then I've thought, shit, like unsend, I can't say that. Like you've just got to always be like customer first. Customers are always right. As much as sometimes you don't think they're right at all, you do have to just be like that, because it's like it takes so long to build a good reputation, but it's literally one thing can ruin your reputation.
Especially when it's written down, because they'll then, first of all, you responding in like a kind of an aggressive way or whatever, that's not gonna solve anything, or it's not gonna make they're gonna just show their mates or put it on their story and tag you, whereas if you just take a breath, bite your tongue and just try and resolve it or offer some kind of empathy or solution, they're going to respect you more as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from like self-development as well, like learning to control your emotions and reacting with a logical side of your brain rather than your emotional side. Because it's even like in your personal life, like I try so hard, if anything happens with anybody, to not react on emotion and just to like calm or say it in a calm way, because there's never any need to have like an aggressive or an argument. It's always best to like calm down first before anything. And obviously you're not in a good mood all the time, because that's just life. Sometimes you're really stressed, sometimes you feel like shit, but I think it's just important to kind of always think about how you're responding to anyone,
like the consequences around that.
I
completely agree. Like it's something I've been working on as well, because I'm quite an emotional person. But it is just like, okay, remove the emotion and like, what's the logical thing to do here? No, I completely agree with that. Just touching on a different topic then. So regulation, obviously we did have a brief chat about this before we started recording. What are your thoughts on what's being said at the moment and the government consultation, and how do you think this could potentially impact your business?
To be honest, I try not to look at it, because I just think like, obviously being a non-medic, if I look at it and focus on it, it'll just be very negative in my life. It'll probably make me less motivated, and it'll just be, it's just negative, isn't it? Like looking at it. So to be honest, I try and not even look at it. And anyone who like puts anything about it, I just try and ignore them, or just tell them like there's no point in stressing about it now. From a practitioner side of you, there's no point in stressing about it until we actually know. Like you may as well just literally turn a blind eye to it until something actually comes in place. Because at the end of the day, whatever happens is going to happen regardless of whether you stress about it or not. And you just putting your energy into feeling negative and worrying about it is just an absolute waste of time, when you could be building your business even more and like preparing yourself that way, building a strong business and a strong brand. So I just think it's stupid to worry about it when we don't actually know. And as well, like I always think with the government, as much as they're doing it for public health, like the government is always about making money themselves. And if it's like it's a £1 billion industry, and I think I saw a stat that like 70% of practitioners were non-medic. And if you think about how much tax we pay them, there is no way they're going to ban non-medics. I'm sorry. It's too big of a money pit for them. Like, But that's just my opinion. I just think there's no way that they're going to ban non-medics, because think about how much money the government would lose from banning non-medics from doing aesthetics.
Yeah.
Because as well, non-medics, a lot of non-medics are the ones that are the big ones. Like I don't personally know of many like medical things that are massive. Like all the companies I know and follow who are like, they're all non-medics, all the big ones.
Yeah.
And I think obviously if you're a doctor and stuff, you can be massive, but I think to be a successful aesthetics practitioner, you've got to be creative but also like clever as well. And I think sometimes doctors can be too smart but not as much creative, so they might be really, really good at the injection and the anatomy, but they're not so good at like the marketing and the business side of it. Or the same with like the opposite way around, do you know what I mean? And I just think
I agree.
I just don't think there's any chance that they're gonna block it. But I just think as well there's no point in even thinking about it, because whatever happens regardless. I'm not gonna lie, if it did happen and only medics could do it, we'd all be fucked, because I have no idea what I'm going to do when I've spent years building up a business. But whatever happens, and it's just part of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you can then go on the Apprentice and pursue that kind of things.
And I just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but give me money because I need a new business idea.
Exactly. No, I think that's some really good advice. I think, but use this time, don't be worrying, just build your business. But I think it will calm down in a few weeks. I think everyone's just like, like this has come out, and then people will just slowly forget about it until 2 years time, and then it'll come out again. It always
feels so for like the training academies, because obviously I had someone in yesterday who owns a training academy to do a nose, and she was saying that like she's been quiet at the minute because obviously the new regulations guys putting everyone off training. But I think you should look at that more as like regulations are coming in soon, let's train so that at least I've got it under my belt, because I can't take qualifications off you.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that as well. I think train whilst you can, get your certificates and start building your business now.
Because fair enough if you put the regulations in where from now on, because I feel like they could do that and say from now on only medics can train in this, which is fair enough. Obviously it's annoying, but it is fair enough if they want to do that. But I don't think they can take away from anyone who's already spent the money, because it's just not fair. Like aesthetics courses aren't cheap, they're thousands of pounds. So I just think train whilst you can.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really good advice. Just finally, you've obviously used Faces for quite some time. Do you want to just give us some insight into how Faces has helped your business? Hopefully it'll help you even more now you know about the booking platform. Just in terms of how it's helped you manage everything on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, so it's honestly so easy, because obviously there's the consent forms there, they're all pre-made. Obviously you can like edit them and do your own and everything like that. But it's just been easy, because it's like one side of your business that's just like done for you. And because it's all online, like I used to use like paper consent forms, and it's a nightmare, because that was back when I was in my uni house as well.
Oh my God, the rats are eating them.
Yeah, like where do you store all these pieces of paper? Like when you go to find it as well, it takes an absolute nightmare. Like I know some businesses still run with paper, and I'm like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Like actually, what is the point? Because it's just an absolute nightmare. And obviously, like it's better for the environment. Lol, gotta include that. Yeah, I just think it's so much easier when it's online and it's all done for you. And obviously there's the pay later option as well, which is really good. And the fact that it's all free is just insane, I can't lie. Just especially for someone who's starting out, for example, like you've got everything there for absolute free. Like you don't need to pay for a booking system, you don't need to pay for like email marketing, you don't need to pay for anything, which is I just think is so good.
Yeah, it's just the gift that keeps on giving at this point. I'm like, we're just a charity at this point, like everyone just but we just try and make it better and develop it so that for practitioners, whether you're new in the industry or you've been in the industry for a long time, it's going to benefit you, going to help you save time, going to help your clients as well. It's so much more efficient for your clients to like fill everything out on their phone or their computer, like they don't want to be filling things out in paper and all of that. So yeah, really good feedback, so thank you for that. I know obviously we've briefly touched on this, but just to finish on like a positive note, what are your kind of like, I was going to ask you what your goals are for the next 12 months, but have we kind of gone through that, or would you know how to answer that?
I could probably answer it.
Or I could do that, or like proudest moment since your career started.
Either.
I'll do proudest moment. Okay. So just to finish off on a positive note, is there any specific event or a specific client you've treated throughout your aesthetics career that you look back on and you just think, you know what, like I'm so proud of like what I'm doing and where I've gone and who I've helped?
So probably two proudest moments was, so I got asked to go to like Shetland to do a clinic there. So like being able to fly overseas to kind of like do my services there was really, really good, because there wasn't really anyone on the island that did it. So that was really, really good, and I was really proud of that. And I still do that now, to be fair. And then obviously that girl whose nose I did, who she couldn't, like, she'd had it done literally like 3 times, and I was like just watching from the sideline being like, just let me do it because I can do it better. And then obviously she let me do it, and it was just really, really good. So I was buzzing about that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, lovely. It's been really, really good speaking. I feel like we've been chatting for like 3 hours because we've gone through a faces demo as well. But
yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right, lovely. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.